This video is primarily for the railroad.net forums. It's a tour of Maine Central Caboose number 660. It's located here in the Coal Land Transportation Museum. It was originally on the Western Maryland Railroad and was one of 105 that was built. This one was part of 30 to be completed March of 1940, according to the maintenance sign here, 3-1940, and last inspected 5 of 1975. It runs on conventional bearings. It does not have roller bearings, but just more of a sleeve type bearing. And we've got it here at the museum. It is preserved and it's on a small section of track, and we're going to go take an inside tour of it. One of the neat things though is we actually have ours being pulled by a Bangor and Rustic BL2 diesel locomotive, but the Western Maryland Railroad also had BL2 diesel locomotives. So in theory, this caboose could have been actually pulled by a BL2 in its actual service lifetime. Now this caboose has a very short wheelbase, and we've had volunteers here who were actually conductors and crew on the Maine Central have noted that the small wheelbase cabooses like this one were very hard to work on because they were very bouncy. And this one did services right here in Maine on some of the smaller lines, to Eastport, to the Bucksport Run, up to Mattawamkeag. So it's been to various places. So this is truly a nice Maine Central caboose. And we're going to go ahead and head up the stairs right now. And here in the museum, you can go through the museum, the caboose on your own. A couple things I'll point out in the back. Here we have a whistle. This is off the brake line, and if the train is going backwards, you can actually activate this whistle, and as you were doing a crossing, you could actually make a whistled crossing. And we also have a brake wheel here. And then as we come around to the inside of the caboose, we have a small kitchen area as we first enter in here. So to my left, there's a large oil tank that would be used to provide oil for the fuel stove here, because here we have a sink and here we have a cook stove that would also be used to keep the caboose warm in the wintertime. And if we keep looking over, we've got a refrigerator, we have a table, and then we have another table right over here. So you can imagine if you were the conductor during paperwork, and you could look out back here and you could see the tracks rolling out from behind you here, or you could look out the side. And there are various storage compartments in here. So right above the fridge we've got a storage compartment right there, and across the way here we've got another storage compartment. And as we enter the middle part of the caboose, the cupola up here, you can see the seats, and the crew would sit up here and they would look forward over the train as best they could. They'd be looking for any sort of defects, overheated bearings, freight falling off the train. They've got gauges here telling them brake pressure, but you could sit up here and look forward or look back and see various aspects of the train. And right in the area here there's lots of other storage compartments for I imagine personal gear and other railroad gear. Right underneath this seat right here is a bunch of plumbing and a tank, because it's located right next to the bathroom that's actually in this caboose here. So of course, obviously they're not going to stop the train if they need to use the restroom. So here's a restroom, a toilet and a method to flush of it here. I believe this tank that's right here is actually the water tank. Given its height, that would provide a little bit of water pressure for the toilet and for the sink. And then right below this tank is actually one of the 3 bunks. Here's one bunk, and then across the walkway here we've got essentially another bunk beds. So 3 people could actually sleep on this unit at one time. And then we have another storage compartment, and in our case here, here at the museum, we've had it used for fuses and torpedoes, which are devices that are used to help notify if a train breaks down or not. And we've also happened to have a stretcher here, so I can imagine if the crew needed to use a stretcher for some reason, they could. But that's a quick walkthrough of the number 660 caboose. And as we head on out the car here, you can see we're hooked up to a 1918 boxcar that actually has been converted to a maintenance of way car. But if you want to know more about the boxcar, let me know. Leave me a comment on this YouTube video, and I can go ahead and shoot that too. And we'll come out the side here, so you can actually see along the side of the caboose. And if you were hanging out if you were looking over the other part, you could actually see over the caboose, actually over the boxcar, and you could see the locomotive right there. And we'll head on down the steps. And I hope you enjoyed your tour.